It's Friday night, and you may be wondering why I'm not doing a live draw because it's first of all it's later than usual. But the reason I'm not doing it, but I'm doing this live, is because I just came back from seeing the Looney Tunes movie, The Day the Earth Blew Up. Just saw this at my local cinema, and got to see it with my excellent animation buddy Joe. Um, I have a lot of thoughts, and I just spent the last, I don't know, 30 to 45 minutes in my car hanging out with Joe talking about the movie that we just saw, okay? And I'm going to write a full review on my Facebook profile very soon. But I just wanted to come on here, and even though there's no live draw tonight, I still wanted to do some kind of live something to tell you that I definitely had a great time. Um, there are a lot of good things about the movie. There's a lot of things to really enjoy about this movie. But if you've watched the shorts that they made for Max, HBO, the app or whatever, the streaming service. If you've watched those shorts they've made in the past few years, this is going to feel very similar to that. And some of that is good. I mean, the animation quality is really, really fantastic. It's beautiful. You can tell they put a lot of care. You can tell the folks that made this movie and those cartoons, you can tell that they love the Looney Tunes. There's a lot of reverence for the Looney Tunes, which is great. I mean, I think they're great characters. The main problem that this movie suffers from, as do the shorts, is the writing and the story. The story is okay. It's got a pretty zany premise, and I think that's good. But there's a lot of awkward dialogue. There's a lot of missed opportunities for jokes. Like there were so many chances for really funny jokes that I kept sitting there thinking like, oh, it'd be really great if they did that, and just flat. So there were other times where they hit it. There were times where they hit it really well, and you're like, oh, they got it, and then it would just fall flat for another like 10 minutes, and it'd be another 10-minute period before you get something really funny. So I don't know why the team of people that make these the Looney Tunes shorts, the new shorts, and that made this film, I don't know why they aren't spending more time on the humor and spending more time just writing comedy. And just to be clear, there's different forms of comedy, right? There is silly. There's a lot of silly stuff. There's ludicrous stuff, like ideas that are just outlandish and weird. There's bizarre. There's a lot of different things, and this movie hits on all of them. It just doesn't hit on the funny enough. I just wish they focused more on humor. Someone is saying, hello, anyone there? Yeah, I'm there. Or are you talking in the chat? Is anybody else in the chat? I don't know. Maybe some people are in the chat. Like I said, I'm going to do a full review later. I'm just kind of getting my thoughts out right now. I love that they really do seem to know the characters of Porky and Daffy really well. What they didn't do, which was really disappointing, in the HBO shorts for the Looney Tunes, they had a really great thing with Petunia Pig. Petunia Pig was a character from the old cartoons that people kind of forgot about. But in the shorts, they made her really funny. They made her a really good slapstick character, very, very surprisingly funny. They bring her into this movie, and it's like she's a completely different character. She's not funny at all. She just doesn't have the same energy. I don't know why they changed it. It was very odd. Yeah. Anyway, so that was strange. In the trailer, they had this really funny scientist character who I thought had a lot of promise. This movie is supposed to be an homage, right, to B movies from the 50s, which is great. I love B movies from the 50s. I don't know that anybody nowadays is really thinking about B movies from the 50s, but they sort of started out the film feeling very much like they were doing a parody of that, and then it sort of fades throughout the film. They don't hold on to it, and that's another problem I have is all of these things that they were setting up. They were setting up a lot of good potential punchlines, and then it wouldn't pay off. So the music is great. Voices for the most part are great. The visuals, I pretty much have no notes on the visuals. They were pretty spectacular. It's just the writing. I just feel like sometimes it hit, but if you hit 10 times out of 100, you still have to sit through the 90 more times where you don't hit. And that's kind of what this felt like, if I'm being honest. Who's talking here? We are talking about, I don't know what you guys are talking about in there, in the chat. Someone's asking, where do you life? I'm guessing you're asking, where do I live? I live in Texas. Anyway. Yeah. Well, where do you guys live? Feel free to jump in and let me know where you guys are. Typically, I do a live stream every Friday night where I draw, and I normally do that at 9 p.m. Central Time. I'm not doing that tonight because, like I said, I just came back from seeing the new Looney Tunes movie, and it is worth pointing out. This is technically the first time there's ever been an original, all animated Looney Tunes movie. It's the first time. We had to wait till 2025 for this to happen. And this movie almost didn't get released, actually. Even though Warner Brothers Animation created the film, they didn't end up distributing it. They almost didn't do anything with it at all and buried it. But they sold the distribution rights to a company called Ketchup Entertainment. I don't know much about them. So it has released. It has not as wide a release as I would have liked. You may or may not have seen any advertising for it. I keep hearing people saying that they're not seeing much advertising for it. So for the sake of supporting traditional animation, which those of you that watch me regularly know that that's my thing, absolutely go and support it. I want to see them do more of this stuff. That being said, a lesson needs to be learned here about the importance of having a good script. And if you set up your characters in like the zeitgeist of comedy, as these are really funny characters, these are funny cartoon characters, and then you make a movie and it's only funny once in a while, it's a little bit of a letdown. And I don't know if they're gonna learn that lesson or not. My worry is if a film like this doesn't do well, the takeaway from the studio is going to be, well, I guess nobody wants to watch traditional animation, or, well, I guess nobody cares about the Looney Tunes. They're going to learn the wrong lesson, and I don't know how you get across to them the right message. All I can do is, offer up my opinion in a place like this or in the review that I'll be writing, and hopefully somebody, word gets around and maybe they go, oh, this guy over here is saying, it wasn't really very funny. I don't know if that helps anything or not. Let's see. Pat Paulson says, I'm in Bali. They should have hired Moose Batman for colors. I don't know what that means. I don't know. Oh, Moose Bauman? I don't know what you're talking about, Pat. And I'm getting somebody named Libby Long asking if I can shout out Mike Oxlong. All right, shout out to Mike Oxlong. I don't know if that's a friend of yours or, well, but hello. I'm saying hi. Yes, this is live. Yes, I do talk back and forth with those people who are chatting with me. And if you're just tuning in, I was discussing the Looney Tunes movie that just came out today. I think they had preview screenings yesterday, but officially the release date is today. So, oh, I see what you wanted me to say. Can I say it faster? Ah, I get it now. That's a good little Bart Simpson style joke over the phone. I get you. That's pretty good. I will not say that faster, but I appreciate the attempt. I had a feeling when you wrote that out, I'm like, I think I know what this is. And then when you said, can you say it faster? That was when I knew with my brain goo. I said, this person right here, they're playing four-dimensional chess with my mind. I'm glad you think I'm funny. Thank you very much. Well, anyway, I don't know if you guys have this playing in a theater near where you are, but definitely go check out the new Looney Tunes movie. If for no other reason than I want them to make more Looney Tunes movies. I mean, yes, I know I'm complaining a little bit about this one, but that doesn't mean it was all complaints. I mean, again, it's some of the most gorgeous animation I've seen. Music was great. It is entertaining. There is enough there to be entertained by. I do think I would rather them do something like this than like Space Jam, okay, or 1001 Rabbit Tales, which if you know what that is, or if you don't know what that is, that's one of the original Looney Tunes movies. It wasn't really a Looney Tunes movie. It was basically a clip show where they were taking a bunch of clips from old Looney Tunes shorts and they were stringing them together in a movie, and they would animate segments that would happen in between that would stitch those bits together to try to act like anytime they showed part of an old short, like it was a flashback or something like that. So that doesn't really count. This movie that I'm talking about, this is technically the very first all animated Looney Tunes movie ever. And I'm not counting anything that was like direct to video either, by the way. Any of the Sylvester and Tweety stuff or whatever. Moose Colors really revived Green Lantern. Well, I don't know what you're talking. I know who Green Lantern is. I don't know who this Moose thing is, but either you're going to have to explain to me a little something more about what you're saying, or I have to apologize that I don't know what you're talking about. But I do like that somebody in Bali is watching right now. That's kind of cool. What's the weather like in Bali? I imagine it's very tropical. Anyway. TMB says, how weird. Yeah, it is a little bit weird. Well, anyway. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight, guys. So what I've started doing recently, again, on Friday nights I do an hour-long live stream where I'm drawing, and I turn the camera toward my drawing board, and I work on stuff. Then I talk to people and explain my process and things like that. But when I do these vertical live streams, I've been calling them my 30-minute mind dumps, where I'm just sort of talking for 30 minutes about whatever's on my mind. Sometimes I'm talking with you, if you guys are saying things in the chat that I think are interesting. That's been what I've been doing. A premier colorist. He's a Wizard Award fan. Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Well, I'll have to look him up. I don't know the guy's name. I'm gonna type him in on my desktop so that I can look him up and see what you're talking about. Comic book artist. Oh, Moose Bauman. Okay, cool. All right. Thanks for the recommendation. I'll look into Moose Bauman. He's a colorist for IDW Publishing. All right. Worked on the Transformers books in 2009. Very cool. All right. Well, thanks for the recommendation. I appreciate that. That's cool. Oh, someone hacked your account and renamed your account? Oh, my gosh. I don't know how to help you there. I'm sorry your account was hacked. Oh, I know what I wanted to tell you guys. Today is actually my 12th year anniversary. I opened this YouTube account 12 years ago to the day, which is kind of awesome. I actually moved to the city I'm living in now. I moved here about 11 years ago. So right before I moved here was when I opened up my YouTube channel. And I didn't do very much with it for a long period of time. But in the last 5-6 years, I've been doing more and more with it. And now I'm doing these live streams with y'all, which is pretty awesome. Thanks for the anniversary, for the shout out for the anniversary, Samantha, who is one of my channel members. Thanks so much. Nice to have one of my channel members here. Oh my gosh, welcome, welcome. You just came in recently, so I'm going to show you what I've been holding up the whole time. This is the really cool poster that I got from seeing the Looney Tunes movie. Pretty awesome. I really love this poster. I think it's fantastic. I'm going to have to do something with it. Obviously, it looks a little backwards to you guys. Let me see if I can just turn my camera around so you can see the... Here we go. Let's see. There we go. There you go. Now you can see it. What a great poster, right? Yeah, the colors are great. I really love the giant word of movie. So good. Giant alien spacecraft there, UFO. There is an alien character in this film. The design is great. I really like his design. He was kind of underutilized. I didn't love his lack of stuff that he did. There was a bunch of stuff that they underutilized. The scientist character, they underutilized him. I do think it would have been kind of nice to have a couple cameos from other Looney Tunes characters. Personally, I don't think it would have been that big of a deal. I don't think it would have been, too corny or whatever. I think if you're gonna have a Looney Tunes movie, one or two cameos isn't terrible. Now, it is terrible if it's corny and it doesn't work. But if you can integrate the character in such a way that you're happy to see them and they're funny, then that's fine. But again, humor was the big problem in this movie. There was some really good moments and then a lot of moments that were just okay, unfortunately. Yeah. Sorry that your account was hacked over there. I think you said your name was Michael. Yeah, I'm sorry your account was hacked. I don't know who you would bring that to. I imagine there's got to be a help center where you can talk to YouTube about getting your account looked at. I wish I had better help for you, but yeah, I would see what you can do talking about getting that account fixed. Anyway. So I plan on seeing the movie again on Sunday because a different buddy of mine, and I wanted to go see it together. And now I'm a little bit like, oh, I don't know that I'm ready to go see it again this quickly, because, like I said, it was sort of like in spurts. Like the comedy it would be good for a little bit, and then you just would have to wait a while. I really think they need to pay closer attention to the comedy of the original Looney Tunes cartoons, because those cartoons were just finding the humor as often as they could. Everything was just a setup for another joke over and over and over and over again. And I'm not saying that for 90 minutes, that's easy to do or maintain, but I do think they could have got it more consistently than they did in this film. Just because a movie is a different formula than a 7-minute short doesn't mean it has to feel quite so different. And it felt a little too different, if I'm being honest. From One Piece. Yeah, I am familiar with One Piece, but I haven't watched One Piece, and I know there's a huge fan base for One Piece. Maybe I'll check it out one day, but there's a lot of anime on my list that I've not seen, and I'm a little bit embarrassed to say that One Piece is one of the ones I haven't seen. I've seen a little bit, but not very much. So I like how when I said that, the amount of people watching live dramatically dropped. I wasn't aware that we had so many One Piece fans in here. Oh, well, sorry. Sorry, I don't have time to watch all of it. Anyway, so Sunday night I'll be going back to see it again. Now that I know what to expect, I'm hoping that maybe I can settle in my chair a little bit and just sort of let it wash over me a little bit differently. That's my hope. But something tells me the jokes are gonna be very similar feeling, and that's my only complaint really about this movie is the humor. So all I can say is, look, They put out a beautiful movie for $15 million. That's an amazing miracle. The movie almost didn't come out at all. And the fact that it's in theaters at all is amazing because frankly, it almost didn't happen. So, my takeaway from this is go and support it. We deserve to have more traditional animated films. We deserve more Looney Tunes films, and I think the only way that happens is if this one does well. So the good news is, at $15 million of a budget, it doesn't have to do that well for it to be considered a success. The problem is, I don't think a lot of people know about it, and the other problem is, I would be promoting it even more if I thought it was some of the most brilliant writing ever, and it needed to be, and it was not. It was in a few bright spots, but it wasn't consistently that way, and that's the problem. So that's kind of all I have on that. I'm going to do a longer, more thought out review. I just wanted to talk about it a little bit here and sort of hear myself out loud working through it. The end credits is nice because they did this thing where they show a bunch of like the sketches, like the working drawings, the in production drawings, you know, the different types of ways of drawing the characters. What maybe drawing them like the old style, drawing a little bit newer. I do want to point out that there was seemingly a lot of influence in the animation from John Kay. For those of you who don't know who John Kay is, he's the guy that created Ren and Stimpy. And his influence on cartoons is definitely something you cannot deny. But I do feel like it was too much saturation of John Kay in this film. Too much like extreme, the faces feeling like they needed to be extreme every time something happened that was slightly exciting. And I think it's very effective to do that, but I think it's more effective when you do it selectively and when you do it in a place where the audience maybe isn't expecting it to happen. So I guess if I had any complaint about the visuals, it was that. There's a couple of really good montage sequences. One of them felt like a nod to Disney. Like it was almost like it was paying homage to that montage in Princess and the Frog where they did everything kind of Art Deco, and then a little bit of a montage to the Pink Elephants on Parade sequence from Dumbo. There was a little bit of that, and that was cool. It wasn't funny, but it was entertaining, so that was pretty good. And then the other montage is when Porky and Petunia are kind of running around saving the day. And that sequence was handled very well. But again, like, I don't feel like they understood comedy all that much. Samantha says, "Oh, I love the Pink Elephants." Yeah, it's a great little segment of animation. So there was a bit of this movie that felt like it was tipping its hat there. It just needed to be funnier, and it just needed to be wittier. Not just funny, but like clever. There's a difference between clever and silly and slapstick, right? Like there's different forms of comedy, and they all have their own rules and their own ways of working. But to me, Looney Tunes have always been very clever, and they didn't have a lot of the cleverness in this film. That was definitely missing. And again, there's a lot of times where they would set up something, and you would think, oh, this is going to be a joke. I can see they're leading up to a joke. And then it just wouldn't be a joke. It was just regular dialogue. They did a bunch of heartwarming, crying, sappy kind of moments, and there were too many of them. I'm just going to come out and say that. All you need is maybe one. I think in a movie like this, you don't need there to be multiples. So, yeah, it kind of felt like the script needed somebody to look over one more time and tighten it up a bit and punch it up with humor. It definitely needed punching up for sure. I do recommend you see it for yourself, though. I do recommend that you give it a chance. How often can you go to the theater and watch a traditionally animated movie right now? You kind of can't. This is sort of a weird moment in time that we get to have this. So, you know, I'm always going to be honest with you guys. I'm always going to tell you what I really think about stuff, but I do think the film should be supported. Bubba says, is that Mars Attacks Funko Pop? Oh, yeah, I've got 3 Mars Attacks Funko Pops right there. 3 of them. And then I've got a bunch of Mars Attack stuff at the top of my cabinet right there. So, yeah, absolutely. Here, let's do a little. Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. And I've got one more that I just ordered that's going to be here sometime soon. And his head is like exploding. So he's got like glow in the dark green brain goo exploding out of his head. And that one is in the mail right now. I'm waiting for that one to show up. So I'm really excited about that. Big Mars Attacks fan. Actually, the alien in the movie tonight, the main antagonist, was very much like reminiscent of those kinds of character designs, those kinds of monsters from the 50s. Although, to be fair, Mars Attacks did not come out of the 50s. It was inspired by that stuff, but the original Mars Attacks trading cards were released, I believe, in 1962. So little bit after the 50s, just a little bit. So anyway, I mentioned earlier this is a 30-minute mind dump. That's how long I do these. Normally on a Friday night I do an hour live draw, but I came home too late tonight to do one, and so I'm kind of tired, and I do want to finish some drawing, but I don't think I'm going to do it tonight. I think I'm going to give my hand a break. I was drawing throughout the day, and I think I'm just going to hang out with my cat and watch some TV. I think that's how this is going to go down. But I thought, I've got 30 minutes. I can come and talk to people for 30 minutes. That's fine. So consider this a compromise. I appreciate everybody participating, or those who participated in the chat. Thank you for the thumbs ups. I hope you subscribe if you want to hang out with me some more in the future. I do these every once in a while throughout the week, but always on Friday night I do one. So come back for Friday, and I'll probably be back to my regularly scheduled programming on Friday of next week. That sounds pretty perfect to me, says Samantha. Oh, yeah. Hanging out, watching TV with my cat? Absolutely. The only thing I'm missing right now is my fridge is completely empty from sparkling water, and I am really, really jonesing for some cold sparkling water, and unfortunately, it is 11:15, so I have to wait until tomorrow before I can go doing any shopping, so that's a bit of a bummer. I did not plan that out very well today. That's what happens when you don't plan. Tomorrow I'll have to do a beverage run. Sounds like it's time for a beverage run. I'm incredibly thirsty right now. I'm going to have some regular room temperature water. Yay! Anyway, all right, guys, thanks for hanging out with me. If you want to know more about what I do, just hang out over on my channel. You'll see a bunch of videos there. You can also visit me at retailsunshine.com, or you can search Retail Sunshine on Instagram and Facebook, and you can see some of my own cartoons there. And of course, if you follow me on my personal Facebook account, you'll see my upcoming Looney Tunes review that I'll be writing probably tomorrow morning and posting about that. So anyway, have a great night. Thanks for hanging out. Have a wonderful, safe weekend. Go see Looney Tunes, The Day the Earth Blew Up. Support traditional animated films. I want us to get more of these things. This movie has the potential to do very, very well because it was made for very, very little. And so I think we can definitely, it almost didn't get released at all. And I want us to send the message to the Warner Brothers team that there is an interest out there in the Looney Tunes, in traditional animation, in theatrical releases, not just going to streaming. I think we have real power as consumers that we can use our dollars to show them what we want more of. And even though I've said a little bit of complaints about the writing, that doesn't mean the movie isn't worth watching. It doesn't mean it's not worth supporting. There is still funny stuff that happens in it. It's beautiful to watch. There's a lot to like about the movie. There really is. I hold these guys to a very high standard because let's face it, the Looney Tunes, the original ones, set the bar. They set that bar so high that if you're going to try to follow in their footsteps, you have to be open to some scrutiny. So that's why I'm critical in the way that I am. But I also see a lot of good, and I am telling you guys it's worth watching at least once. Okay. All right. Have a good rest of your night. I'll see you guys later.